بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Allah Azza wa Jalla bless this gathering and gather us in paradise as He has gathered us here tonight. Allahumma ameen. Bless us for every minute of every second that we spend remembering Him, remembering the hereafter and our eternal abode. Inshallah, that be paradise. Allahumma. إننا نسألك الفردوس الأعلى وما قرب إليها من دون العمل. And be on our scale, يوم لا ظل إلا ظله, on a day where there's no shade but His. Last thing we talked about, what we were talking about last week, was the fact that Yom Al Qiyamah, or the Day of Judgment, another name is Yom Tanad, right? The day of calling, that you will be in the mahshar, right? The area where everyone is gathered together, and your name will be called out. Your name, your first and last name, who you were the son of who, and son of who and who, and your name will be called and you will be brought forth, right? And we said that this would be a public display, right? Except for those very special people, the righteous souls that Allah Azza wa Jal, He brings the veil in front of them and covers that person from the rest of the people and will question them. And then everyone will be given their books. Those that will be given their books in their right hands, and those that will be given their books in their left hand behind their back. And we talked about that then they will be brought to the scale, and that some people will be brought bankrupt. They will be bankrupt because the scale is where people will get their rights over the other people. Now, this is where we also said that it's very important to be careful that you be careful when you wrong Allah through crossing His lines, and also be careful when you wrong other people, because Allah Azza wa Jal is more merciful than the people, and Allah can forgive, but people may not forgive. So be very careful. And we talked about the core thing that makes a deed heavier than another deed, which is what? Ikhlas. Very good. Ikhlas, or sincerity, makes an action heavier over another. We talked about that. This is why we cannot judge anyone for their actions. And we gave the example of the one who, or the lady who fed the cat or the dog, and she was granted paradise, and Allah had forgiven her sins for that. Now, I'd like to continue on with a very beautiful hadith. Right, we're still talking about the scales. Right, this is a hadith famously known as Hadith al-Bitaqa, or the hadith of the card. Now, Abdullah, this was narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar, a very long hadith. Narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "A man from my nation will be called before all of creation on the day of resurrection, and 99 scrolls will be spread out for him, each one extending as far as the eye can see. Then Allah will say, يقول الله عز وجل, هل تنكروا من هذا شيئا فيقول لا يا رب. So then Allah will say, do you deny anything of this? Right? So imagine 99 scrolls spread out full of sins. And now Allah is asking the man, do you deny any of this? And he's saying, لا يا رب, no, no, my Lord. He will say, have my recording scribes, have my angels been unfair to you? Then they will say, apart from that, do you have any good deeds? The man will be terrified and will say, no. Allah will say, indeed, you have good deeds with us, and you will not be treated unjustly this day. فتخرج له بطاقة فيها أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. That a card will be brought out on which is written Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, that I bear witness that there is no Lord except Allah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave, servant, and messenger. And he will say, "O Lord, what is this card compared to these scrolls? What is this card compared to these scrolls? 99 scrolls full of sin." And it will be placed on one side of the scale, and this card that has his shahada, that he truly sincerely believed in La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he's questioning Allah, right? Oh Lord, what is in this card compared to these scrolls? He will say, you will not be treated unjustly. Then the scrolls will be placed on one side of the balance, and the card will in the other. The scrolls will go up to be light, and the cards will go down cart will go down and will be weighed heavy, right? So this is very, subhanAllah, a very enlightening and hopeful hadith that gives us hope for the hereafter, that to truly believe in the oneness of Allah, to really show Tawheed, that this is the ultimate savior, right? This is known as Hadith of Bitaqa, the court hadith, right? As English translation goes. So now we're in this scene, right? The scales, the everything. So someone might ask, well, where's the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Right? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is telling us, أَنَا فَرَّدْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْحَوْضِ. You will see me, I will precede you at the hawd. Right? This hawd is a very vast piece of water, right? Very where we will go and drink from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's hand. Recorded in the Sahih Hadith in Jami' al-Tirmidhi, it describes this hawd, that it is a water that is whiter than milk, sweeter than honey. Its cups are as many as the stars, and that anyone who drinks from this water will never be thirsty again. Allah reported that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, "Ana farratukum al-hawd." I shall be there at the hawd before you, and I shall have to contend for some people, but I shall have to yield to others. I would be saying, فيقول يا رب أصحابي أصحابي فيقال إنك لا تدري ما أحدث بعدك. My Lord, they are my friends. So people will be coming to the hold, but other people will be held back from the hold, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will be seeing that they are being held back from the hold, and he will be calling out to Allah, Ya Rab, Ashabi, Ashabi, my Lord, my companions, my friends, and the angels will reply to him, you do not know, it will be said to the Prophet ﷺ, you do not know what innovations they made after you. Right? Uh, the exact translation is you do not know what they said after you were gone. Now, some of the scholars said that this means that in terms of they had left Islam, and others say that it is the innovations that they had fabricated about Islam after the Prophet Muhammad was gone. So two views on that. Now, now we see this kind of grouping together, right? People are grouped together, and the people of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ who truly believed in La ilaha illallah, who did not fabricate innovations, the bid'ah, will be with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And this is another name, we get another name of Yawm al-Qiyamah as Yawm al-Fasl, right? The day of separation, right? That people will be separated. The munafiqun will be separated from the believers. The kuffar and the mushrikeen will be separated. Everyone will be separated in their own groups. يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون. So now Allah is telling us in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 42, beware of the day the shin of Allah will be bared, and the wicked will be asked to prostrate, but they will not be able to do so. So beautiful hadith in Tafsir al-Qurtubi. We're following al-Qurtubi through this whole story, in which the hadith is narrated to us. قال حدثني عن ابي موسى قال حدثني ابي قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول اذا كان يوم القيامه مثل لكل قوم ما كانوا يعبدون في الدنيا. That when the Yom al Qiyamah is established, when the final hour is established, it will be the people that used to worship other than Allah will be those that were worshipped will be brought forth, and they will be brought in front of the people. فيذهب كل قوم إلى ما كانوا يعبدون ويبقى أهل التوحيد. That every that worship other than Allah will go to that which they worship, and they will each be separated into different groups. And the only group that is left is Ahlul Tawheed, the people, the monotheistic, the people who believe in the true monotheism of La ilaha illallah. فيقال لهم ما تنتظرون. It will be said to them, the angels will say to them, what are you waiting for? وقد ذهب الناس, and everyone has gone. فيقولون إن لنا ربا كنا نعبده في الدنيا ولم نرى. That it will be said to them, they will say, they will reply to the angels, that we had a Lord, right? These are the monotheistic, the people who truly believed in Allah. We had a Lord that we used to worship, but we don't see him. وَتَعْرِفُونَهُ إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ. The angels will say, reply to that those group, would you know him? Would you know Allah Azza wa Jal if you see him? فيقولون نعم. They will say yes. فيقال فكيف تعرفونه ولم تروه? How would the angel said, how would you know him? How would you know Allah if you see him? If you didn't see him. قالوا إنه لا شبيه له فيكشف لهم الحجاب. That they say there's nothing like him. There's no one. They know that it will be Allah because they haven't seen anything like him before. And at this point, فيكشف لهم الحجاب. The veil will be lifted. فينظرون إلى الله تعالى فيخرون له سجدا. That they will see Allah in all His glory and all His might, and they will fall down in prostration. And there's nothing else that you can do except fall down when you see the glory and the might of Allah Azza wa Jalla. فيكشف لهم الحجاب فينظرون إلى الله تعالى فيخرون له سجدا وتبقى أقوام ظهورهم مثل صياصي البقر. That the people of the monotheistic faith will see Allah in His true glory and they will fall down in prostration. This one group. And all the other groups will see Allah and will also try to fall down in prostration, but they will not be able to because their backs have been made like that horn of the horn of a cow. Is straight and it's protruded up and they cannot bow down. When you bow down, you have to use your limbs and your joints to bow down, but their backs will be made like iron rods and they cannot bow down. They will try, but they cannot. فينظرون إلى الله تعالى فيريدون السجود. They will see Allah Azza wa Jalla in all His glory and all His might, and they will want to prostrate, although they worship other than Allah in this dunya. فلا يستطيعون فذلك قوله تعالى يوم يكشف عن ساق ويدعون إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون. And this is where the verse is talking about that when Allah finally reveals Himself, that they will try to prostrate فلا يستطيعون, and they will not be able to prostrate. This is why we as Muslims in this world, in this life, we are even grateful, we are even showing shukr to Allah Azza wa Jal that we are able to prostrate now, right? That we are able to make sujood now. What an honor it is as a Muslim to be able to fall into prostration, right? And we are the true belief, the true sujood is not to show off, not to show someone else that you pray or that you're a good Muslim, because this is a way of nifaq. This is a hypocrisy that you're not really prostrating for Allah for His sake, right? And this is why the nifaq, or the fact of hypocrisy, is easier to be done in a majority Muslim population because that's the popular thing that everyone's doing. But when you're in America, when you are living in America, you have to fight for this right. You have to fight to ask your boss for a place to pray, to ask your boss for a place to make sujood. This is you are purposely putting yourself out there to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. But whereas in the time of the Sahaba, where it was a popular thing, the munafiqun said, "Let me come to Fajr because it's a popular thing," right? This is how they viewed it. This is how it was back then. That it was a popular thing to do, and everyone else was doing it, so we will do it too. But here in America, where the majority is not Muslim, where the majority is different, we have to separate ourselves and be that group that truly believe in that monotheism of La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make us amongst those who prostrate in this dunya and the hereafter. Allah Azza wa Jalla, or in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla, when we see Him, يوم لا ظل إلا ظله, a day where there's no shade but His, a day where the veil will be brought and taken from Him. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make us among the Ahlul Tawheed and to drink from the hawd and drink from the hands of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ربنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه منه. ربنا ظلمنا انفسنا وان لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اغفر وارحم وانت خير الراحمين. ربنا اللهم انا نسالك الفردوس الاعلى وما قرب اليها من قول او عمل، ونعوذ بك من عذاب النار وما قرب اليها من قول او عمل. سبحانك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.